I recently did a video with the Galil Ace showing you how easy it was to modify the Jmac Customs MMS Handguard to fit different rifles such as the Galil Ace. And in that video I hinted that another rifle that we can modify it to fit is this Galil Arm, the original Galil. And there's a couple ways it can be accomplished on this particular rifle. So one of the ways is what I have set up here. This way allows you to utilize your carry handle and your bipod. So what I did was I modified the lower mount so that it sits inside of that rear handguard retainer. Looks super cool, but realistically, it is a little bit difficult to run this with the bipod in place. The factory handguard allows the bipod to be tucked away. This does not. Now, you can easily just remove your bipod and still use this handguard this way to run your carry handle, and that's going to work just fine. Now, there's another way that you can do this, and I'm going to show that in just a second as well. So I'm going to run up, swap it out, and show you the alternate version of running the MMS on the Galil Arm. All right, so a quick swap later, and this is the version 2 of the Jmac MMS mod for the Galil Arm. Now on this version, you'll notice that it does not use that rear handguard retainer. So you're not able to mount your carry handle, and of course I have the bipod removed. So this allows me to really get on that handguard like I typically would, and in my opinion it's probably the more practical of the two, although the first version definitely looks really cool with that bipod and carry handle attached. Really gives it that Galil Arm classic vibe, even though it's a complete different look. The second version, as you'll see, requires less modifications. Very simple. Basically you're just opening up the lower mount for the larger barrel profile at the rear, and it just clamps right on. Now this particular handguard is the 6.1 inch version, which takes it right to that lower handguard retainer. So I'm gonna go ahead, get this on the bench and tear it down and let you see what modifications are required to get it to work with both versions. All right, so here we are with the first version of the mod that allows you to run the rear handguard retainer, which allows you to have your carry handle and your factory bipod. So you can see it here. We could run a longer handguard if we wanted to. The problem is right here, there's a little flare that would have to be ground down in order for a longer handguard to fit. So I'm just running a shorter handguard. This one here is using the 5.99 inch Jmac MMS. Now I had to do a lot of modification to get this to fit inside of this handguard retainer. So you can see here how that kind of works and what was required to get that to fit. So looking at it, you can see compared to the factory handguard lower mount, I had to cut down these sides significantly on both sides, and I had to round around this in addition to make space for the carry handle. You can see how that looks right there. On the bottom here, had to round the edges out a little bit more so than they are on the factory mount. And again, that is to get it to mount down inside of that lower handguard retainer. So at the end of the day, it wasn't too much work. Oh, another thing I had to do is I had to remove just a little bit of material off the back here to account for the thickness of the handguard retainer, because it was causing it to go too forward against the front handguard retainer. So there's the modifications that were required for this first version here, which looks awesome if you want to run the rear handguard retainer and the carry handle. The second version was actually very simple to modify because it doesn't use that lower handguard retainer. Really, all I had to do with this one was remove some material just right back here, kind of just at where the rear screw hole is. And that just had to be removed in order for it to fit around this rear barrel profile. So this does not use the rear handguard retainer, and it just simply attaches in the back like so, and you just clamp it in place. So this is the most simple version of the mod to get it on the Galil arm. And it's really the most practical because, like I said before, you can't really have the bipod in place. With that original one, you can't really get your hand around it very well. Looks really cool, but realistically, you're probably going to want to remove that bipod. And that also allows you to run a handguard accessories like this Jmac tab here, which is a nice option to have as well. Now you could run this version here with the carry handle and run it without your bipod and still be able to add accessories. That's another option too. So just kind of depends on what you're looking for, how you want to run it. But either way, it's fairly simple to modify it to get it to fit. You just got to make room for what's in the back there.
So that's it. That's everything that you would need to modify the Jmac Customs MMS Handguard to fit the Galil arm. 2 different ways to do it. Let me know if you like version 1 or version 2, like you see here, a little bit better. Both of them work great, especially with that bipod removed on version 1. Works really just as good as version 2. Plus you get that carry handle look there. But like I said, really easy to do. Just a little bit of patience and a Dremel, gunsmith's best friend, and you'll be on your way. Again, this modification is not sanctioned by Jmac Customs, so if you make any mistakes and you ruin your MMS or your lower handguard, that's not going to be covered under warranty, but to the victor go the spoil. So in my opinion, it's a minor modification. It doesn't have any negative effect to the actual function of the MMS for this firearm, and works really well. And there's not that many good options for the Galil arm. So now, one thing before anybody asks, although you do have access to the holes to mount the optic mounts, they are not going to fit due to the charging handle location, and they probably won't fit around this receiver. I'm not sure, but that the charging handle alone is not going to allow the optic mounts to fit. So that's going to be a no-go. But this setup works really good with the Hillbilly Firearms railed gas tube. So let me know what you think about the Jmac Customs MMS on the Galil arm down in the comments below, and thanks for watching.